which I'm incredibly proud to be a part of, is we work really strongly together, and I think that I'd like to call up Raj Saini, Member of Parliament for Kitchener Centre, and Marwan Tabara, Member of Parliament for Kitchener, Kitchener South Hespeler. And I believe Bardish Chagger was Member of Parliament for Waterloo, was also here earlier today to participate in this open house. This team works really well together, and I've met many of you are from Cambridge, but a whole lot of people in this room are from outside this community. And you whether you're from Kitchener, whether you're from Waterloo, you have a fantastic representation at the federal level. And I just have to say that this type of event, this type of opportunity, inshallah, we will be back here many times in the future. And we just have a very humble certificate to present to you. And I'll read it for everybody. Baitul Kareem Mosque, it is my honor and our honor and pleasure to offer our sincere congratulations as you celebrate your grand reopening 2019 renovations. I know that these renovations will serve your membership and the residents of Cambridge for many years to come. Thank you. And we're going to get a picture.
Everybody in. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. We can have Raj Sanai, who was a member of Parliament. He was just up here for some marks. He's also a great friend of the community and has attended many of our events in the past.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for the kind invitation to attend today. And I want to also thank the Imam for his remarks and his clarity in educating us on the meaning of the word mosque. For me, this is a beautiful building and it's a beautiful structure. But what enhances its beauty is the people that inhabit this place. And since I've walked in, the warmth, the hospitality, the kindness I have felt, and I think it serves to further your message of love for all and hatred for none. And I think as we look forward into the future, these type of gatherings, the conferences that you hold every year, the World Bridges Conference, which I had the opportunity to attend last fall, I think it's extremely important for all of us, for dialogue, interfaith dialogue, but more importantly, to understand each other, because once we understand each other, we can build a true bridge of peace and prosperity, not only for our community, not only for our country, but for the rest of the world. So thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you. The next Marwan Tabara, he's a member of Parliament from Kitchener South. One thing I would like to say that he and Hespeler, and from what I know, the Kitchener South and Hespeler has the largest number of Ahmadiyya Muslim houses or families residing. So, welcome you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It's a privilege to be here. Thank you very much. And I just want to add to what my colleagues were saying. Thank you, Nabil, for that. And Imam, you were talking about cooperation and education. And my colleague Raj Singh was saying how inclusive this is and how we build a better country. I just want to go back a little bit to, I was born in Beirut, Lebanon, and at that time there was a civil war happening. And it was between Orthodox Christians, Maronite Christians, Sunni Muslims, Shia Muslims, Druze. Every kind of religion possible was infighting. And in the video that you showed, you talked about religious tolerance and denouncing religious hatred. And I think if we had more, as the Imam said, more cooperation and more education, events like these wouldn't happen. So I'm so happy to be in Canada where we can include every religion, all kinds of people to come in under one roof, accept, tolerate each other, and work together to build a better community, as your video has shown, to have good stewards of our community. This is what helps build our communities, our nation, and a better world for everyone. So thank you very much, and I'm humbled to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I'm going to have Belinda. She's MPP from Cambridge, and she's bringing greetings to say a few remarks.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me here today. I'll echo what my colleagues said. It is an honor for me to be here. I want to thank your community for all that you've done for Cambridge and the surrounding area. You have raised your funds to purchase the land, to do the renovations. You were helping others consistently, and as your presentation said, love for all, hatred for none. It's a beautiful message, and I want to thank you for that. And I look forward to the World Religions Conference in the fall. And I would like to also thank you for the denouncement for terrorism that your community has been so loud about. I think that's so important to be so loud about that. And I just thank you and enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you, Belinda. Now, there was some. The Chief of Police, Brian Larkin, was supposed to join us, but he had a time schedule, and instead Shamal Isaacs has come. Do you have a few words?
I will try. No, take it.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Chief Brian Larkin, I'd like to thank everybody here for having us. Unfortunately, he had a last-minute engagement that he had to attend. Superintendent Gates was supposed to be here too, but a major investigation has just come up. And don't think you're getting second best. I was going to come here no matter what. My daughter was upset because I missed swimming lessons, but to let you all know, it's very important that I'm here today, and I'll tell you why on a more personal note. I was born and raised in Cambridge. My parents came here in 1971. I went to school on Elliot. The community was very small in terms of diversity back then, and many members in this room helped my family get to where we need to go. My dad became a lawyer. After 52 years this year, he just retired. Corner of King and Bishop. There's a property there for sale. But saying that, my parents took the opportunity when the diverse members of the community would come to support my father, who came here with a suitcase. And my dad would take that opportunity to teach me about other religions. So I'm very fortunate that my dad taught me that very early in life, despite the fact that we didn't have that diversity here in Cambridge. And I associate my success and my two older brothers, who have done very well, to your community, because you helped support my family. And even though we have a lot of barriers, I've accomplished unbelievable things. And I'm extremely proud now that I am the inspector in Cambridge Division. So in coming back to the community, I'm seeing how much it has grown. I have a lot of commitment to this community, and have a lot of pride, and it's genuine pride. So when I read the email that I'm being invited to this event, I was proud to see what you're accomplishing. And I just want to truly say that your accomplishments are my accomplishments and my family's accomplishments. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Inspector. We have we have several of our partners from the World Religions Conference that we organize every year. Some of them I am going to invite to come here and say a few words. First is Doug Thomas, who is the president of the Society of Ontario Free Thinkers. And he's been a member of SOFRI and a partner with the World Religions Conference for almost 20 years, and represents humanism, and he's also been a speaker at many of our events. So Doug, if you have a few words to come.
I can't move while I move. Thank you very much. I'm truly honored to be here and included, which seems to be a habit of Ahmadiyya Muslims, and that's great. I promised Nabil that I would behave, and he believed me. Yes, I've been involved with the World Religions Conference for many years, and as a matter of fact, someone earlier today said to me, gee, I saw some pictures of you from a long time ago, and you look better then than you do now. I'm just pleased that he can make the comparison. At any rate, congratulations on the refurbishing of your mosque and once again reestablishing a place of peace in Cambridge. We have many similarities, more than we have differences. I'm struck by how much humanism we share. in spite of being at the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of belief. And I want to reiterate, I think, something that unfortunately goes unsaid too often, because I think we sometimes take it for granted. We live in a country where this can happen, where we can all come together and recognize what we are working together for. I'm a student of history, and if you analyze the history of modern Canada, there are many people who say this country shouldn't work. It's kind of like a bumblebee. Laura Secord was interviewed in 1866, I think, just before Confederation was about to happen. She was in her 80s or 90s at the time, in Chippewa, Ontario. And the reporter said to her, "What do you think of this Confederation idea?" She said, "Well, you know, you're going to bring a bunch of English Protestants and a bunch of Roman Catholic French-speaking people together. And if you can make that work, you've really done something." Well, I think we have done something. So, but it's an ongoing job. And we really need to go forward and remember that we have to work at it. And sometimes that means we're going to stub our toes, sometimes we're going to bump elbows, but we still need to move forward. So once again, thank you for inviting me, and I do celebrate your place of peace.
Thanks, Doug. Next, I'm going to have Jihan Sabri, who is the chair of Cross Cultures Waterloo. She is also a partner of the World Religions Conference and promotes interfaith dialogue and intercultural understanding in many of her programs that she organizes. She is a wonderful friend of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community. Please.
Thank you very much, and I'm so proud to be a friend of the Ahmadiyya. And as the name of the mosque says, Baitul Kareem, you are very generous, and the hospitality here is amazing, and it's a pleasure to be here and to always be considered a friend. Thank you so much.
We have a couple more leaders and then we will wrap up. Jan Daly, who is a very close friend of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community. He's a former consular of the city of Waterloo. A couple of years ago, he moderated the World Religions Conference that we organized. Please welcome Jan Daly.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be here, and again, it's wonderful to be able to be a friend and be in front of all of you. I think the inclusiveness that you bring is so important. We should never forget that, and I hope all our friendships will continue as we move forward. Thank you.
We also have another very close friend, Professor Dr. David Haskell, the Department of Religion and Culture at Wilfrid Laurier University, a very good friend of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, and he is very excited to join us today and will be bringing a few words of his support and encouragement.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. As you heard, I'm David Haskell, and I'm a professor at Wilfrid Laurier University. I also hope to be running for MP in our riding. I'm here today, not as a politician, however, I'm here today as a friend. Now, I am a man of Christian faith, and my religion asks me to go and seek out people of peace. And in my seeking, I came across a website. And it was a website for the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community. And so I searched that website and I began to read, and despite the fact that I am a professor of religion, I didn't know all that I could know about Ahmadi Muslims. And I read and I said, they reject terrorism in all forms. I said, look at, these people are for human rights and advocate human rights for all and religious tolerance. And the more I read, the more I was encouraged and the more I was impressed. It was outstanding. I read about your founder and that he desired that there would be religious tolerance for all. And that excited me. And I'd read all this and I said, well, now that I know, how do I meet these people? And there was a contact name. and a contact number at the bottom of the webpage, so I called it. And the man to answer my call was my good friend, now my good friend, Shafiq Khan. And he invited me to his home. And we had meals together. And we had conversations together. And we laughed, and sometimes we even wept somewhat together. Because even though we are of two different faiths, we both agree that despite the immense goodness that is Canada, there is some brokenness. And that brokenness is seen in young people who lack purpose, and in families who relish material goods more than each other, and sometimes in politicians who are more worried about gaining votes than gaining virtue. But Shafiq and I, we don't despair. We have hope. And while there's brokenness, our hope comes from the fact that people of faith, people of compassion and tolerance, they can provide valuable solutions to all that brokenness. And as I come here today, I'm pleased to be part of this reopening of this mosque. Canada needs people of peace. Canada needs people of compassion and tolerance. And this building and the people who fill it are an important part of that needed solution. You are an example to others. Thank you, and God bless.
I'm going to call Donna Reed to represent the mayor, because the mayor apparently could not make it, but she was supposed to be here. She will say a few words on behalf of the city of Cambridge.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, I'm sorry that Catherine couldn't be here. I know we were expecting her, but I'm sure that something came up. So I want to take this opportunity to say that the city of Cambridge is really pleased that you are here and that you renovated it. I was really struck with the three words that came across to me. That was that you want to learn, you want to understand, and you want to cooperate. And for me, that's what it's all about. I come from a background of education, and so learning is always really important to me, as well as that understanding. So we as the city come back with those same words to you. We also want to learn about you, we want to understand about you, and we want to cooperate. So it's my privilege to have been here. Thank you for inviting me.
I would also like to recognize Councillor Nicholas Hermera and Councillor Angie Helma and Jennifer Feening from the townships of Belmont, who are present with us today. Thank you very much for joining us in this celebration. We also have today with us a national executive of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community, the National Secretary for External Affairs, Asif Khan. I'll invite him to say a few words before we move to the next segment of the program.
Assalamu alaikum. I wasn't expecting to speak, so I'll be very brief. My name's Asif Khan. You heard the Imam Asif Khan. We're not related, but somehow we have the same name. He's a spiritual fellow, I'm the secular fellow. I'm just kidding. I usually deal with all of the government relations and the advocacy work of the community across the country. And actually, before I say that, who mentioned that the doctor in the back that you're good friends with Mr. Shafiq Khan? Shafiq is my relative.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, he's a splendid gentleman. So
I agree.
good to see that you're doing well. So I usually deal with a lot of the big city events that happen, so I don't get invited to these small community programs that our Jamaat puts on, so thank you very much to Naman for inviting me, for allowing me to be here as well. We all talked about some inclusiveness about the Jamaat and about different faiths. With regards to the Ahmadiyya community, the founder of the community kind of just really stipulated two objectives of the community. And that was, one is to establish a close relationship with God. Regardless of your faith, that everybody should try to develop a close relationship with His Creator. And the second element or the second objective is to serve humankind. And really that's what it all boils down to. When we say we're inclusive, it doesn't matter who you are and where you come from, what your faith is. We can do these two things. I think there'll be a lot of peace and harmony in the world. And then leading to another point that kind of extends from that, the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat is also very unique in its one belief, that it believes that the gates of hell one day will be empty. So hell is like a purgatory. For those that don't do well in this world, when they go there to get reformed. And regardless of your faith, inshallah, everybody one day will be in heaven together. So thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the day.
All right, so next we move on to the interactive Q&A session. So if any of our respected guests would like to ask any questions, here is the opportunity. I would request if you're able to come towards the front on my right-hand side. We do have a microphone over here that we can use. And you can direct the question to our respected Shahid Mansoor Saab or our missionary, and they will do their best to answer the questions. So again, if anybody has any questions, I would invite you to come to the front right now. Any questions?
First one's always the hardest.
Yeah, the first one is hard to trickle in, and then
These presentations were accurate.
yeah.
Can you ask it about sign again? I think everyone can hear me.
There's ladies downstairs, so for them to hear, I would request.
We heard about the mosque. Is the direction is see these rows? They're directing towards something. So maybe Imam Sahib could elaborate on that.
So this is something which all mosques around the world actually share. As you can see, if you look at the floor, the carpeting, there are rows which are made. And when Muslims stand for prayer, they stand side by side, rich and poor, and they all face one direction, and that direction is towards the Kaaba, which is situated in the city of Mecca. And all mosques around the world actually point towards this one single point. And the philosophy or the wisdom behind this is to physically show unity and harmony amongst your fellow brothers and sisters. So not only does the actual prayer promote harmony and unity, not just the religion of Islam in general promote inclusivity, but it also teaches this by way of your physical positioning as well. That when you stand before God, when you stand together, you actually stand together and face one single direction, all is one.
Any other questions? Yes, please come to the front if anybody has questions, and we can go one after the other.
In my point of talking about inclusivity, I think I may have inferred that not everybody can go to heaven without being a Muslim. So I'd like the Imam to just kind of clarify that point for us.
I was expecting someone else to ask that question actually, so it's good that you came and asked it. So, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community does not claim any type of monopoly over salvation. The Holy Quran very clearly states that whosoever believes in God, does good deeds, then there shall be no grief upon them, and nor shall they fear in any manner whatsoever. This is stated in the 2nd chapter of the Holy Quran, right in the beginning verses of the 2nd chapter. So, first things first, it is possible, some could say it is also highly likely, that one can gain entrance to heaven without being a Muslim, or without having any faith actually. The founder of our community, who we believe to be the promised Messiah and Mahdi, His Holiness Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, has very clearly stated in light of the Holy Quran and understanding the Holy Quran, that every person will be judged according to their own rationality, their own logic, what made sense to them. Now what we also have to understand is that God himself has stated that he is not one who does wrong. God does not do any wrong to anyone else. So, now that we understand that God does not do wrong unto anyone, if you truly do not understand or you haven't received the message, how can you be judged in a negative manner? That's not fairness, that's not justice, that's not equality. So, to even think that somebody who hasn't received a message or somebody who has received a message but has not understood could be punished, that goes against all sense of logic and basic humanity. So, as the elder Asif Khan, Mr. Asif Khan has stated, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community does not hold the belief that we monopolize any type of salvation or entrance into heaven. Rather, it is very likely that there will be atheists or humanists in heaven as well. Thank you.
Yes, please.
I know that one of your values is education and understanding, and clearly there's a lot of people in your congregation that are very well educated. I know in the Christian context how somebody gets a call from, they feel God to become a religious person. What's the path an imam takes to become an imam for a congregation?
Very, very good question, alhamdulillah. So the path that somebody takes in regards to becoming an imam is, there's actually an entire system which is put in place within the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, that there is the story in the Holy Quran there are multiple narrations in the Holy Quran of people who have dedicated their lives for the sake of their religion, for the sake of their faith. So there are essentially two paths that one can take in regards to becoming an imam. The first and foremost one is the parents of a child dedicate his or her life before the child is even born. And this child then goes on to work for the community and has the option to go to the seminary, which is, we have a seminary here in Canada called Jamia Ahmadiyya Canada, which means the University of Islamic Studies, in regards to the specific Ahmadiyya line of Canada. And so they enter this institution, and it is a 7-year program in which Islamic studies are taught, comparative religions, multiple languages, and theology overall, in general. And so it is after these studies that one is then certified by the Ahmadiyya Muslim leadership to be an imam. So there is one option where a child is devoted before he is even born by his parents, or rather, and the second option is one can devote their own lives for the sake of their religion. And after studying for 7 years and then later on doing an international tour of different seminaries in different communities, they are then certified as an imam.
I just want to add something there. Even if a child is dedicated before the birth, that child reconfirms at the age of adulthood or maturity that he or she want to continue or not. So it's up to them as well later on that they want to go ahead in that path as well. So that's how it is.
All right, so I think in the interest of time, we will move on to our concluding presentation. I would like to request our National Executive, Shahid Mansoor Saab, for the concluding presentation.
I was counting on Asif Khan's presentation, so I still have to do that presentation now. Okay, Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, peace be on all of you. I'm going to present a couple of quotes. The first one is by the founder of the community, Promised Messiah, peace of Allah be upon him, from his book, Our Teachings, Noah's Ark. In this writing, he's going to explain the manifestations of the Creator, the God. He says that although He is one and absolutely unique, His manifestations are diverse and multifarious. Whenever there occurs in man a new change, for the changed man, he becomes a new God, dealing with him on the basis of a fresh manifestation. The man witnessing a change in God in proportion to the change in himself, not there occurs any change in God, he is being eternal, changeless, and most perfect in himself. But with every change in man for the better, God also reveals himself to him in a fresh and clearer manifestation. With every progressive effort on the part of man, God also shows himself with higher and more powerful manifestation. He displays an extraordinary manifestation of his power and glory only when man shows an extraordinary change in himself. This being the root and the bedrock basis of the marvels and miracles witnessed at the hands of all servants of God. Belief in this God with these powers is the foremost essential condition of our movement. Then, our fifth successor, the worldwide Ahmadiyya, head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, when he addressed a special reception held to celebrate the opening of the Baitul Mosque in Vancouver, Canada, on 18th May 2013, he says that I would, and I'm going to use most of the wording from the extracts of that address. He says that I would like to firstly thank all of you who have accepted our invitation and joined us today as we celebrate this occasion. In worldly relationships, people regularly invite others to social or civic events. Normally, those who are invited accept such invitations, except when they have a particular reason or genuine excuse not to. Indeed, it is quite common for people of all races, nations, and religions to attend such events. However, for non-Muslims to attend an Islamic religious function is a clear proof of a very tolerant attitude and illustrates your keen desire to become acquainted with others and to establish ties of friendship. And for that, we are very thankful to you. It is my sincere hope and prayer that our good relations and friendships with the people of this area continue to ever increase and strengthen. I hope and pray that the doubts and reservations that some non-Muslims hold about Islam will also be removed, and that all of you will come to see the true and loving picture of our religion. And then he says that it should, and God willing, will be the case that non-Ahmadis will come to witness and realize for themselves that whenever they are in need, in form of any need or assistance, it is the Ahmadis who are at the forefront of helping them and protecting the places of worship of all people and all religions. Then he says, today the world stands in great need for people of all religions and even those who do not believe in religion to come together. There is an urgent need for people of all races, nationalities, and ethnicities to unite to a common purpose to save the world from destruction. I say it again, that there is an urgent need for people of all races, nationalities, and ethnicities to unite to common purpose to save the world from destruction. All peace-loving people must join together to firmly stop all forms of cruelty wherever they occur. Everyone should remove all hostility, hatred, and malice from their hearts. Otherwise, such enmities will ignite and cause the destruction of this world.
The signs of a world war are rapidly appearing on the horizon, and there is only one way to save ourselves from its devastating consequences, and that is to beseech the one God who is compassionate to his creation for his mercy. It is my prayer that the world becomes inclined towards this. Amen. At the end, I would like to once again express my heartfelt gratitude to all of you for taking the time and effort to join in our happiness today. May Allah bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would like to once again say a heartfelt thank you to all our respected guests for taking your valuable time and spending it with us. You will find that members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community have a heartfelt desire for all people to live peacefully and happily, irrespective of their beliefs. With these words, I would like to once again thank you for your time. As is our tradition, we conclude our program with silent prayers. You may choose to pray any which way you like. I would request Shahid Mansoor Saab to please lead us in silent prayers.
Silent prayers, please.
Thank you very much.